Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of Design Under Influence. Here's where Boris and I talk through ways to use technology as a competitive advantage for architecture, design, and engineering firms. This is who we help. Boris is the founder of an IT company called ArchIT. I am the VP of Growth, and we're jamming. Boris, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing, Alex?
Doing great. Let's get it right on topic before people it's like guys are just talking to themselves because they're working from home, and there's always a question like, are you wearing pants?
I am wearing pants.
But see, that's the thing. Like, I thought about this. There's no winning because if I stand up now and I have pants on, like that's expected. If I stand up and I don't have pants on, my podcaster career will be over before I got started.
I don't know. Maybe a good twist. Maybe a good twist. Yeah.
Stay tuned. But today we're tackling using spreadsheets for resource management and all of the implications of using that process or tackling resource planning process and future planning process using spreadsheets or other tools. I think it's a strategic enough topic that can grab your attention for the next 20 minutes or so. Boris, you want to kind of lead us into the topic? What are you seeing as sort of like, how is this impacting the firms you're working with? Who's doing good with it? Who's struggling with it? Is everybody struggling with it now?
It feels like everyone is struggling with it, right? Or at least no one has a process that, everybody has a process that may be good enough for now, but there's a lot of room for improvement from all of our customers, and also even for us as an IT company and doing projects for our clients. Even though we're not that big, we're still maybe struggling with some of that too. Like, how do we plan out the projected flow of projects? Who's going to be the resources on those projects? How do we schedule them out to make sure that nobody's getting overworked and people are getting utilized, because we want to keep those utilization rates up.
And that's interesting. This is, again, something I'm also very familiar with, having run a digital marketing agency with 30 employees, as well as now doing some of the consulting work. I have to manage every single project from beginning to end, create the workflows and execute specific elements of the projects, hire people to do specific like skill-based work. And so, let's dive in, man. This sounds like something we can expand on. I don't know if we're going to be able to do a solution or present a solution to a problem, but I think we'll have some good ideas on how to approach this in a more effective, efficient manner.
Yeah. We do have ideas, so that's good. Can't wait to share them.
Can you dive a little deeper into the essence of the problem specific for architecture, engineering, and design firms? Like, using spreadsheets has its downsides, and then also not using spreadsheets can add significant cost. So can you dive deeper into this problem and just kind of like, let's lay it out on the table. Let's start looking at parts.
So, I see that the problem is, as you mentioned, it's twofold. But basically, there's no solution that is great for making sure this planning process is as efficient as possible, and yet providing with the correct data going forward. And then, having that data being pulled from the right systems, analyzed, and then put back into the systems, right? So many architecture firms use internal accounting suites, and Deltek is by far the leader in that space. So I would say most larger clients we work with use Deltek. Smaller clients can use ArchIT, Office, or Monograph.io, which is basically a suite of tools to allow a professional services firm to run their business. It includes accounting, timekeeping, and basic project management. What none of these tools actually include in their initial implementation is this ability to project forward and see how you can schedule out resources, let's say 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road, or a year down the road, because a lot of these projects take a long time to actually, to design something and then hopefully put in production, which is going to take another, it's years per project.
So what you're saying is those systems do a pretty good job with kind of immediate current needs of the project, but forecasting out is not their strong suit right now.
That's correct. And so what happens is, so for example, you can get a forecasting module for Deltek, right, to build on top of their basic suite. But in order for that to work properly and give you the correct information, you need to spend a lot of money not only on the actual product, but on the consulting fees so that people can come in and implement the software the right way. And then if you didn't have the right data to begin with, then it's going to be useless until you start putting in the right data into your Deltek product. So on the top end, there's these software tools that require a lot of investment. And then on the other side, people are just using Excel spreadsheets, which are free in terms of financing, but not free in terms of time consumption, because it takes a long time to get the data out of their accounting system, out of their project management system, get it into the Excel spreadsheet, manipulate the data in the right way, and then get it back in.
And how often do people typically do it, and who's in the organization typically is the one doing it?
So typically it's the CFO that's tasked with this task, right? Because it's financing for the most part, but financing and projecting of data. And usually, from my experience and talking to and working with many architects don't like that type of work. So, and because of that, actually, another challenge for that person who's doing this is making sure that the right data has been put in, right? Because again, from what I've seen, not all the architects or the principals at the firms like to get that data in because they just don't like data. So,
it's a tedious process. I don't think
right?
Like data. It's just like data entry.
Exactly.
Like it takes deliberate practice to get data hygiene, executed, the policies executed. But when it comes to actual execution, I know, again, my own experience, digital agency, we do a lot of creative work and stuff. Putting data into the system at the end of the day is not my ideal way to spend the evening.
Yeah, and same thing for us at an IT firm, right? We ask all our techs to make sure that the ticket notes are filled out for every ticket that they work on, but many struggle with that, even myself, right? I'd rather fix the problem than sit 20 minutes documented afterwards. It happens. Data entry is not the most exciting thing, but it's actually what helps the business and drives the business.
I don't want our listeners to enjoy all the scratching in the background when this is like a seriously interesting topic we're exploring. So let's just keep digging. So I think like we have the elements on the table now. Let's talk about the challenge with a spreadsheet. So it sounds like there's a designated person in finance doing this spreadsheet work or the resource planning, and without all the architects putting data in deliberately, religiously all the time, that Deltek system probably be useless, right?
Yeah. That is a good assumption.
And so now we're back to spreadsheets. And are there some tips on, or something you've heard people do that is effective on reducing that workload on spreadsheets or getting more accuracy in the process?
Yeah. So there's, people have worked out some custom connectors that allow them to faster, get the data out. Now, I guess the first challenge is, right, we need to have the right spreadsheet and the proper spreadsheet for this task, right? So that would be the first thing, is you need to create a spreadsheet that works for your firm and make sure all the formulas are correct and you're properly analyzing data once it gets into that spreadsheet. And then the second task would be getting the data out of your current project management system into that spreadsheet. And for that, like I said, we've seen some firms go out and hire developers to create custom connectors and get that in place. So I think that's a good first step for that, to solve that problem. What
is the impact of a solution like that? Let's say you do hire, a couple. I imagine it's not that expensive, going out work or maybe somewhere else. There's probably some people specialize in this. And so is it expensive? Or so my thinking is not that expensive.
Honestly, I don't think it's that expensive, but it all depends on how much you value this, right? And how much time can it free up for the person who's actually doing the task. I think anywhere from, $1,500 to $2,500 is what needs to be invested into creating this with the right developer. Now, again, it all depends on who you hire and how well they do the job. But I think that's what it's going to cost.
And what would be, in your professional estimate, the time savings related to building those connectors?
I would say maybe, again, safe estimate would probably be about 8 hours.
8 hours a month?
8 hours a month for that one person, right? So it's not for the whole firm, but it's for the person who's doing the work. Now, remember, this is most likely this is a CFO or a senior person in the organization who understands all the aspects of financing. So their time can be better spent on other things than doing just basic imports and exports of data.
True. So they actually can invest this time in the actual future planning, futurescaping, rather than actual import export. Okay, but it doesn't sound like this is incredibly significant in terms of time, because if I'm only saving 8 hours a month and I'm spending $2,000 on a project, I question that ROI. Another thing is, like, I bet once you build those connectors, isn't there like a support cycle that's still going to be ongoing, or is like build one time, it works forever?
Well, nothing is built one time and it works forever, right? For example, one of the challenges, and this is kind of specific example, one of our clients is there. And again, I'm focusing on Deltek because that's probably the predominant player for firms that require resource management and to this scale, right? So they had an internal implementation of Deltek and everything was working. And then they migrated their Deltek to the cloud, and that software stopped working because everything changed, right? So the backend changed, the type of data, it's different connector connecting to different place, it's different type of data, different tables, different everything. So basically that solution will need to be recreated from scratch. Now, also the problem with this is, like, you found a developer to do this who created it for you and made it work, and then the developer's, no longer developing, or he's gone for other reason. You may not easily find a person who can do similar type of work that you're used to, having similar using the similar interface and that type of stuff.
This company you bring in as an example, they actually use Deltek module for resource planning that you discussed earlier?
No.
So they just use it as a project management?
Correct.
Okay.
So they use Deltek project management with the spreadsheet, and they had a custom connector to export the data into the spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Once they moved to,
I got it. So they had the custom connector is what the developers had to build, and that broke. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, I got you. So out of the people you speak with, what is the percentage of people using spreadsheets versus using this Deltek or some kind of other custom solution for this future planning, resource planning stuff?
So again, for our customers, most of them use spreadsheets. I would say, based on information I have and the discussions I've had, I would say all of them use spreadsheets as their key tool right now.
Gotcha. And as a sort of a service provider, what is ArchIT able to help somehow in this process, alleviate some of the frustrations with the process and smooth it out? Or are you pretty much like, hey, that's necessary evil, it's spreadsheets, that right now seems to be the best solution? Is that your take on this?
I hate spreadsheets, and people may kill me for it, but I hate spreadsheets. I think spreadsheets is one time I listened to an interview, and I don't remember who said it, but basically I'm not. So go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, you were just talking about spreadsheets and how much you use the word hate. So want to expand on that a little bit?
I know hate is a strong word, but I'm going to say I really dislike spreadsheets, bordering on.
You're taking a softer stand now?
One
Are
of
you
the
backing up?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, for some things, spreadsheets are good, specifically for specific accounting functionalities. But people are trying to use spreadsheets for many other things, which can be replaced with bigger, better, smarter software. So I guess that's where I'm coming from. So I was going to say that I've I was listening to this one podcast, and I don't remember who said it, but basically, it was the gist of it is this. So, if you want to solve a problem in the world, find something that people are doing with spreadsheets and create software to replace it.
And so, I guess that let's just take this one home. I think the concept that you and I, when we discussed initially and planned this topic, like, well, somebody's got to build this thing, right?
Yeah, somebody has to build it, and I'm hoping that there's enough expertise in the marketplace where a sort of solution can be built where it can help people in the architecture, design, and engineering space. Now, we're also looking to possibly start along these lines once we get more out of the requirements out of our clients, to see if we can build at least a custom connector to a smart software application, like maybe what was that, the software that you were using?
Yeah, I was going to bring that up, but then you kind of pooped on it, so I'm afraid now. But no, I'm using Airtable personally. Love it. And Airtable, right, by the way, guys, is essentially like spreadsheets on steroids. You can attach files. You can sort all kinds of different ways. It's a lot easier to use. And I'm just giving a quick example. And then there are apps connected to it. So you can developers build all kinds of interesting solutions on, like you can use it as your marketing calendar. You can use it as your resource planning tool. There's some really cool stuff there. But so what you're saying is building a connector, like maybe ArchIT can build a connector to a solution like that, right?
Right. So when I was talking about spreadsheets, I did mention smart tools, which I think Airtable is a smart tool because it has all these other integrations that can run with it. And then we can utilize those additional apps and those integrations, with a connector to a backend system like a Deltek or a Jira or ArchiOffice or Monoprice, right? So I think that would be the first initial step into putting a solution in place to help with this problem.
Gotcha. All right, there you have it, folks. Go to getarchit.com for more of this goodness. We truly hope you enjoyed the episode. Any words of wisdom at the end of the day? Like, this is one of those topics where there's no clear-cut solution, but there are ways to make things easier. So any parting words of wisdom, Boris?
Replace spreadsheets with something smarter.
And wear pants.
And wear pants. And I'm going to hold my microphone like this for the rest of the day.
Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for listening.
Bye.